Sea Lions and Dolphins, and it's time for Friday's spelling lesson. How did you get on last week with your words beginning with E-A? Hopefully that you did well on those. Now, just to start us off, before we do today's task, I thought we'd have a little practice at some of the words that we learned last week. So I'm just going to get this off piece of paper. Hang on a sec. And just make sure you can pause the video while you get organised, but you need a pen or pencil and your exercise book, and we'll have a go at some of the words from last week to see if you can remember how to spell them. Okay, so your first word, number one, is weather, and it's the weather as in it's raining outside, the weather today is rather wet, so that kind of weather. Okay, and number two, deadly. Deadly. Sometimes mushrooms can contain deadly poisons that kill you. Deadly. Number three, your next word is healthy. Sea lions and dolphins, I hope you're being very healthy at the moment, eating well. Number four, your next word that I'd like to spell is thread. You might use a needle and thread to do your sewing. And your final word is, let's think of a good one. Let's go for spread. Do you like to spread jam, butter or marmalade on your toast? Spread. Okay. Now let's see if you got those right. So I'm just going to share my screen with you a minute. Okay, let's go on to here. Okay, let's just go with past that. We'll come back to these in a minute. And I'm just going to type our words so you can check to see whether they're spelled right. So your first one was weather, and I'm hoping, year fours, that you got that E-A sound in the middle here, not the other kind of weather which has an H in it. E. Oh. Thread, and our final word was spread. Pause the video if you want to check those words, and if you've got them all right, well done, absolutely brilliant. Now, our lesson for today, we'll just go back to my first slide, is to spell words with A-S-S, A-S-K, and A-S-T. Okay, so here we go. On the left-hand side here, we've got our keywords. We've got some ask words, some cast words or asked words, and A-S-S words. And do you notice the ones that end with the S here, it's a double S, not just one S, but the other patterns just have one S in. Now, your first task is here, which we'd like everybody to do. You've got groups of words and you have to write them, copy them down in your book. You don't need to print this off today. Write them down in your books, write each word down, and then look for the odd one out. And if you have a look in the first one, it is past, which is an AST word, and all the others are ASK. And then the next one, it's a bit like having riddles, looking for clues. You've got a clue here. You have to find the word in the list of keywords and write it down in your books as well. So the first one says, I am used in Windows. So have a think, sea lions and dolphins, what might be used in Windows? Which one of these words? Have a think. Hopefully you got glass, and it's an A-S-S spelling. Remember, when you're writing your words in your books and practicing these spellings, to do your very best letter join, please. Okay. Now, as usual on a Friday, we have our extra and extension tasks, which I put here for you. I've also included them in our next slide on sway, so hopefully you'll be able to see them there as well if you want to refer back to them. Fingers crossed that will work. I know we're all trying to work out sway together at the moment, aren't we? So your first little extra bit is looking at plural words, and it says here sea lions and dolphins, and you might remember this from when we've done work on it in school. Plural means when there's more than one of something. Now, when you want to make something plural, you normally add just an S. But if your word already ends in an S, do you remember what the rule is? Hopefully you'll remember that you have to add an ES. So if it's a word like bus, it will turn into buses with an ES on the end. So you've got to decide, look at each word, do you just add S or do you add ES? And then an extra bit here, we'd like you to write a sentence explaining why you think that's the rule. There is a particular reason for it. I'll give you a clue. Say the words out loud and that might help you work out what that B bit is. Then, if you want to do a little bit extra, want to do a bit more, we've got our extension task here. And this is also about adding a suffix. Remember, a suffix is small part of a word, adding it onto the end of a word, and we've got ing and ed here. Now, I don't know if you remember the rules for this. If you've got a short vowel like or or I or o, and you've got a consonant after it, you have to double the letter, and people often forget this rule. So for example here, look, you've got run or rot, and if you want to add an ing or an ed, you have to double the last letter. If you've got something like fast, which has, look, we've got a consonant, two consonants together, or ask, you don't need to double that last letter. Okay. And don't forget, if a word ends in W, X, or Y, you don't ever double. Well, I think it's everyone saying that, hopefully. You don't double the last letter. So again, look at each word, write the word down and add ing or ed or both, and have a think, do you need to double the letter or not? Don't forget, you can check in a dictionary or an online dictionary if you want to double check on those. Okay, so we're just going to go back to me now. Here I am. So I hope that you enjoy doing the spelling task today. Think carefully, take your time. Best writing, please, sea lions and dolphins, and I will see you for our next lesson.